Welcome back to another explainer. Today we're taking a deep dive into the literal invisible technology powering modern education. We are going to break down both the surface level magic that keeps schools running smoothly and that complex under-the-hood database security that makes it all possible without catastrophic data leaks. It's a fascinating setup, so let's get into it.
Let me ask you something. Are you still juggling spreadsheets, disconnected tools, and manual registers? Because if you are, you already know it's an absolute nightmare. Relying on fragmented tools to handle admissions, attendance, fees, and parent communication? It's not just inefficient anymore. It's a completely unsustainable way to run an institution today.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start by looking at the school management crisis, peek inside modern ERPs, master system user roles, dig into securing multi-tenant data, and finally, help you choose your next system.
Okay, kicking things off with part one. The school management crisis and the sheer chaos of disconnected tools. Let's look at exactly why modern educational institutions are practically sprinting away from legacy software.
Picture this contrast. On one hand, you have the absolute chaos of fragmented systems. We're talking manual registers, lost data, duplicate student IDs, and that familiar panic of trying to track down a simple fee payment. It's stressful. But on the other hand, you have the unified platform, a shared real-time database with automated workflows. And why is this absolutely crucial? Well, today, parents expect instant updates right on their phones. Compliance requirements are stricter than ever, and administrators desperately need real-time dashboards instead of waiting a month for a static report that's honestly probably already out of date.
Moving into part two, let's look inside modern school ERPs, specifically above the surface. Let's explore what these unified systems actually feel like for the everyday user.
By definition, school ERP software is essentially the hero of our story here. It acts as a centralized digital platform connecting admissions, attendance, fees, HR, and communication into one shared real-time database. So instead of a messy patchwork of siloed apps that stubbornly refuse to talk to each other, everything just lives in one cohesive ecosystem. To put that into perspective, let's follow a single piece of data through this system. It starts with step 1, centralized enrollment, where a student's profile is created just once. That exact same data flows instantly to step 2, attendance tracking, where teachers log daily participation. Then it links seamlessly to step 3, fee and accounts management for automated invoicing. And finally, it all culminates in step 4, academic reporting. That student's record seamlessly flows from their very first enrollment form all the way through to their final report cards. Staff literally never have to manually re-enter the same information twice. It's a huge time saver.
All right, part 3, mastering system user roles. This is all about the concept of what you see is what you need. Let's look at how these platforms handle permissions.
Now, the true magic of a unified platform is how it totally shape-shifts depending on exactly who is logging in. It basically acts like a dozen different apps wrapped into one through specific user role permissions. So an admin gets full control over modules, timetables, and school-wide alerts, but a teacher's interface completely shifts. They only manage their assigned classes, input grades, and log attendance. A parent logs into a clean, simple portal to monitor just their child's grades, fee receipts, and events. And a student, they only access their personal academic history and timetables. All that irrelevant clutter, it's entirely stripped away.
It's really fascinating because, as our source material highlights, custom roles allow schools to grant precise access to features without overexposing sensitive data. This means you can tailor permissions for highly specific niche positions. Take a sports coordinator, for example. They need to take attendance for athletes and schedule matches, right? But they have absolutely no business seeing academic grades. Or a school counselor. They need access to behavioral records, but definitely shouldn't be able to edit the master timetable. Targeted access ensures airtight security while keeping everyone super productive.
This brings us to part 4, securing multi-tenant data. We're going below the surface now. We know what these systems do on the front end, so let's look at how they actually keep your data safe under the hood.
Think about it. If you're using a cloud-based SaaS ERP, multiple schools are often sharing the exact same database infrastructure. That sounds like a massive privacy nightmare waiting to happen, right? Well, that is where row-level security, or RLS, comes in. Think of it as an invisible fence. It's a PostgreSQL database feature that automatically filters queries so a role only sees or modifies specific allowed rows. It strictly isolates one school's data from another's. Without this, a single buggy line of application code could accidentally leak a totally different school's financial data. With RLS, the database itself enforces the boundaries, acting as the ultimate safety net.
So how do you actually build this invisible fence? It's highly technical, but it really boils down to 3 core actionable steps. Step 1, create an application role that is explicitly a non-superuser. Step 2, enable row-level security on your shared tenant tables, which essentially locks down and hides all rows by default. And step 3, define a tenant context via current_setting. In plain English, this means when a user logs in, the app securely passes a unique ID to the database. The system knows exactly which school is making the request and unlocks only their specific data.
And looking at the actual code snippet here brilliantly illustrates what we call the invisible where clause concept. By creating a tenant isolation policy on something like invoices, the database silently enforces security on every single query. So even if a developer writes a broad, careless command, like select all invoices, the database intercepts it. It automatically appends a strict policy ensuring only the current tenant's invoices are returned. It is an incredible piece of architecture that protects data even if the application code completely drops the ball.
All right, finally, part 5, choosing your next system. Let's surface back to the top and check out the market landscape for all you EdTech buyers ready to make a move. The market for 2026 is incredibly diverse, but what's really helpful is mapping these platforms directly to their best use cases, so you don't get completely overwhelmed by the options. For instance, Classr.io is your go-to for a modern, all-in-one cloud system. Fedina is an absolute powerhouse for multi-campus schools needing hybrid or on-premise setups. Alma SIS really wins on K-12 usability with an incredibly intuitive cloud interface. Classr dominates for international institutions. Meanwhile, Infinite Campus handles massive public school districts, NTAP Campus Care is strictly tailored for Indian schools, and Schoolmint is just unmatched for handling complex enrollment systems in the cloud. Remember, you aren't just buying a system, you are buying the specific operational problem it solves.
But hey, before you sign absolutely any contracts, you must ask the hard questions to ensure the platform genuinely solves your actual bottlenecks. Ask exactly what's included in the base price, because a lot of vendors will nickel and dime you for modules like HR. Verify if it supports required native integrations, like Google Workspace, so your staff doesn't have to abandon the tools they already love. Pin down exactly how long implementation takes. Verify if there is a robust, family-friendly mobile app, because without parent adoption, the whole system will fail. And finally, make sure it can actually handle your school's unique, complex policy and scheduling rules.
So I want to leave you with this somewhat provocative thought to take back to your IT department. Your school's database might be unified on the surface, but is it truly secure under the hood? Whether it's streamlining daily admissions or relying on the invisible fences of PostgreSQL, the technology running our schools has literally never been more fascinating or more vital. I encourage you to keep exploring the invisible architecture that is protecting our students' data. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.